Sarah's from Canada. We've got Diana from America. We've got Jay from Australia, and I'm from the UK. So this is a worldwide event that's happening, and it's affecting the whole world. So and this conversation proves it, because we've got 4 different people from 4 different continents of the world experiencing the same things, right? So yeah.
So welcome, Batman just did our intro. That was fantastic. Well done, mate.
Well, let's say this. Let's give our viewers a little bit of knowledge to what common law actually is. So when we are born, we are given our born-given rights, which can't be taken away from any government or anyone higher in power. So when you're born, you're given these rights, the right to free movement, the right to religion, the right to freedom of speech. There are all these rights you were given at birth, which no one can take away from you. And what's going on around the world at the moment is our rights are being stripped from us illegally and unlawfully.
There's a bill here and here about the pandemic bill.
The pandemic bill. So what's going on with
basically
that?
What they'll do is they go under a state of emergency. They can basically do what they don't have to go through the regular channels to say to people stay home. So I'm using my words. I'm just being very careful about my words. Okay, so they can keep people at home when they want, and there's other things that could be done, but we haven't seen it. So basically, they can just call it under a pandemic law. So they can pretty much do anything they want.
There's something like that in Canada going on right now too in some of our provinces. It hasn't been put out into the news or released really to the public, but there are government documents out there that you can find if you dig deep enough that states that we are under, it's not called pandemic law, but I think they're calling it war times law.
Right.
I'll have to look it up again. I'll try to find the post of the one from Saskatchewan, but it's basically the same thing. The government now has the right to come in and remove items off of your property. If they decide that you have a farm and they want to use your land, they're allowed to come in and take your land and use your land if it has something to do with what they want to do. It's really weird and convoluted, and it kind of makes me think like there's something deeper going on here, because these rules aren't even about a pandemic or a virus. It looks like there's something else going on and they're trying to use this to cover it up. So let me find the paper so you guys can actually hear what I'm talking about in better detail.
Yeah, we'll hear from Diana. What are your thoughts, Diana? What's your knowledge?
Well, it's a little bit, in the US, it's a little bit different over here. I've seen some of what's going on over where you guys are at. But the thing I'm having problem with is all the information, like the laws. Well, first of all, they're always changing the requirements. The news every day, like there's something changing constantly. So, and then when if you look on Google, everything's hidden in the algorithms. People are censored, so it's hard to really find the truth with. So like the job, I just started working this job, right? I got an email. It was about the COVID, about what's going on, and it's like they're saying you have to be either fully vaccinated or test negative. But a lot of jobs around here have to be fully vaccinated. Like a lot of them aren't even. That isn't even an option. So I was lucky I'm able to take a weekly test, but who knows how long that, but things are literally, even since I've been here, the people were pissed off. We had a Zoom call, right? And they were mad because like, it's already changed since I've only been here like over almost 2 months, and everything keeps changing. So here in the US, literally everything's constantly like, just the information, the numbers, everything is so skewed, and it's a lot of people are confused, and then everybody's turning against each other, and the way the media puts out everything here, it's just like they're putting two parties against each other all the time, and it's a big cluster F basically here.
There's particular countries that are ahead of the rest, just like
yeah, it's definitely. I'm glad that I saw some videos what's going on in Australia and some other countries, and even that stuff's hidden. Like I find out from like different groups I'm in, people are saying what's going on, but they're not showing that. If you type on Google, you're not seeing in that. I use DuckDuckGo. Shows a lot more. Try searching something on there and that you'll see, like, I think I've said that before, but it's a big Google. I don't really trust, honestly.
Well, it's amazing. That's why we've got people like Jay on because he's from Australia, so he can give us first-hand experience.
Yeah, good to see that. Yeah, it's all
What's
hidden.
going on. Do you know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
in
it's just
Australia,
look, everything's as I said, everything's changing. We don't know what's going on. They're sending out, as I said, they're sending out the media. They're putting out certain things. You know, it's basically FEAR mongering. So basically, when you actually awaken yourself and go, okay, see, I've got a belief that there's something there, but they're using it against us, right?
Mhm.
And I basically don't want to borrow it. But in saying that, they're actually using that against us. They're not, as Sarah said, it's not about the virus. It's about something else. They're building some houses up the road from my place to put people, if you get where I'm going, when they come overseas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, is it like
the unvaccinated?
Yes, that's what we believe. There's so much stuff happening under there. It's not funny. Well, we don't have any proof of it. That's the whole point.
I wanted to know, I keep seeing videos of what looks like a legitimate concentration camp.
So they're building them up in the northern parts of Australia, and they've got one in Darwin, which is the northern suburbs. Yeah, it's sort of like that. Yes, they're building one up here too, up near my place.
And is that for people who are denying the jab, or is that?
Well, they're saying they're going to bring people up when they're bringing overseas. They're bringing people overseas so you can quarantine. If I believe that, I believe that, but I don't. I believe it's basically because what's happened already in Darwin, which is north, where I am. I'm down south. North of Darwin, the unvaccinated can't even go outside now. They've got 3 reasons to go outside. You can't get groceries, exercise, and medical. That's it. You can't work, can't do anything.
See, once you disconnect from the system, they can't touch you. And that's what they're scared of. And it's so simple to do that. So I would advise anyone that hasn't already registered themselves under common law to go and look it up and do your research. And you will see how easy it is to disconnect from the system. And they don't have the control that we or they make us believe they have. They have to show you what they are doing.
Yeah, the Illuminati is really weird. Like they have to. Yeah.
They have to. It's part of their ritual.
Like in plain sight. I don't know the name. There's a name for it, some kind of universal law, but it's like they have to show it. And Ralph Smart, like I said, Infinite Wires, he talks about that. He talks about a few of his videos, but they have to show it. And like with the movies too, with the predictive programming, right? A lot of the movies, if you watch movies in Hollywood, all of them predict like they're out before, like ahead of time. People even saying that with Squid Games and stuff. That's another kind of a
Squid Games is a very interesting one. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as I saw that, everyone's going, watch Squid Games. I'm looking at it going, mind control. There you go.
It's a way to decondition you and desensitize you to what they're trying to do. If you put it in the person's face every day, just a little tiny bit, just a little tiny bit, just a little tiny bit, by the time it actually rolls out into real life, it doesn't seem like much of a surprise. And it's like, oh, I'm used to this already. Well, if I lived in Australia, I'd be totally fucked right now.
We're not doing too bad. Look, I'm trying to stay off the grid as much as possible.
I live in the bushes, Jay, man.
Already am.
Run and hide.
Already am. I stay away from people. I only do my little things and that's it.
Who else saw, right, the people performing? I don't know where it was. It was a live band, right? And they had the people playing the trumpets, right?
Yeah.
They had a mask on, but they cut a hole.
I saw that video. You said get off the planet. I want this
I saw it. Yeah.
Right.
What?
From you see humanity doing things like that, right? You literally have to question your own sanity and look around to say, what the fuck is going on? What it comes down to is if we choose to do it or choose not to do it, that's our choice. But what's going on is they are taking that choice away from us by fear-mongering and blackmailing us into doing things we might have not done if they weren't blackmailing us. And that is unlawful. It doesn't matter how you look at it or how you want to sugarcoat it. What they are doing is fucking disgusting. It's not common knowledge that SARS-19, the first coronavirus that come into play, has never been singled out in a laboratory to exist. There is no scientific paper on planet Earth to show us this as the people, because we can request this sort of information, you see.
Well, Freedom of Information Act.
That's it. So there's people, so there's doctors, there's nurses, there's all these people that have requested, can I see a piece of paper that shows SARS-19 has been singled out in a lab, please? And then I might believe everything else. But they cannot give us one because it's never been done.
Oh yeah, if it's science, you should be able to question it. You know, like I had no problems getting vaccines in the past, right? We got measles vaccines, you're younger, right? It wasn't forced on me. It wasn't like, mandate. It was just, and they weren't putting this in the news all the time. We had no problem getting it, right? But now when you see things are forced and everything's very inconsistent, that's when it's a problem. But the thing is, when you put people in fear and you separate them, you can control them, right? So literally, the U.S. is crazy. Like everyone, it's like they've turned everybody against each other, and people are literally looked at like they're like dirty if you don't have it. And I'm like, it just. This is so crazy.
I watched a news story like talking about common law and what's legal and what's not. Here in Canada, our wonderful Prime Minister was on the news talking about how people are upset about their basic human rights and freedoms being taken away. He looked dead flat into the camera and said, I'm fully aware that this goes against the rights and freedoms of this country, but I have found a loophole that makes me legally allowed to do the things that I am doing, so therefore I am going to continue.
Legally.
Exactly. Wow.
It is a loophole which allows him to trump all of the rights and freedoms in our constitution in Canada. He's found a loophole. He dug so hard because he wants to take away the rights of his citizens, the people he's supposed to be governing and protecting, and therefore to keep the country running. He's found a loophole to fuck us, and he publicly admitted this, and it was on the news.
So who's been following Dr. Robert Malone being censored? No. Anyone? No? Has anyone ever heard of Dr. Robert Malone?
Oh, I know who he is. And I know, actually, it's really funny you mentioned him. I sent a video to a friend of mine who really likes to fact check everything that I post. Yeah. I like her because she keeps me on my toes and it keeps me thinking. I sent her something about Dr. Robert Malone and about some of the things he was saying. And she's like, oh, well, I just fact checked everything. And I don't believe a word that guy says because he's been taken off of all platforms. The fact checkers say this about him. He didn't even invent anything. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I know that he's the guy that invented the technology, not for vaccines, but for gene therapy. He is the one that created that stuff. Yeah. I know who he is. He's talked about in Canada a lot. And there's a very split thing between the fact checkers. Like, no, he's been taken off all platforms and he's been proven a liar. Mm-hmm. And then there's people like me that are like, he's been taken off all platforms because he's telling the truth. Sure. And we need to pay attention to what this man is saying because he had a part in creating this. And not for
this is very recently as well. Very recently, taken off of all platforms and the platform. And even Joe Rogan, if anyone's ever heard of Joe Rogan.
Oh,
yeah.
Very popular over here.
He's good.
They've done an interview the other day. That's been taken down. So I think Joe Rogan's sort of waking up because he sits on the fence about a lot of things. He has an open mind. He believes in a lot of the things that we would question, sort of thing, but he's now starting to see the cabal and the true power and the true nature and the true agendas behind what they want to put out onto this planet. Because, like in America, Diana, because I bet the censorship over there is really bad at the moment.
Yeah, my mom's a nurse, right? And she got the ProCareer or whatever, and now she's starting to look up different doctors and everything. She's finding stuff like really hidden in the search engines, and now she's questioning. But yeah, everybody is just everyone's being censored. I'm seeing a lot of people's videos get removed, just especially, of course, on social media, Facebook. It's all of that's part of big tech too. You got to think about it. Big tech, big pharma. They've all working together.
They're all buddies.
They're all part of the same thing.
Yeah. I was thinking too, when we were talking about all of the stuff that the media puts out to put things in plain sight and just start feeding you information so you get used to it. I was watching this series on Gaia Network called Cosmic Disclosure. And there's a guy on there, Emery Smith, and he talks about the secret space program and the military bases that are all over the world, that are underground, that do all of these programs. And he was in it for quite a while from a very young age. I think he was 20 or 19 when he started doing it. And then he was doing autopsies on parts of aliens and stuff like that. And he talks about how there were people in those bases that worked with the CIA to directly communicate with Hollywood about what they're doing and to use information about the deep underground military bases to start leaking it to the public via Hollywood. And he also talks about really pay attention to the new shows coming out now, because they are going to be feeding you a lot of stuff to get you prepared for what's happening.
They have to put all this stuff out there now, even down to the Pentagon coming out last summer with the information that we are not alone now, and extraterrestrials and unidentified flying objects that are on Earth that were not originated on Earth. They have that in their possessions. So they're now, after all these years of covering up ETs, extraterrestrials, UFOs, now they're coming out to say they're real. Now, if you haven't already researched Project Bluebeam, then I suggest you go research that, because Project Bluebeam is a project that the government I say the government, it might be the CIA, you don't know, it might be MI5, I don't know what corporation it is, but it's a project to fake a false alien invasion. So
yeah, I've heard about that too.
So to do that, you have to first get the collective comfortable with knowing that we're not alone and extraterrestrials do actually exist. And this is what they're doing. They are drip feeding us all this information that normally...
Watch Netflix. Yeah, Netflix has a bunch of ET stuff that just, during this pandemic, during everything, right? I just noticed there's a ton of stuff on Netflix out of nowhere now. And it's even showing documentaries of when the Roswell stuff was going on, and how unidentified objects are around the White House. It just started coming out all at the same time. So that's very obvious that that's something, because that was never there. But they literally all came out at the same time.
All come out at the same time. Exactly.
Was it 210 or 201?
It was event 201. Sorry, yeah, you're right.
201.
Event 201. And it was an event that took place in, I think it was 2019, just before Corona went live, right? Just before they went live with it. And basically it was the World Health Organization.
Yeah, them. Yeah, right.
WHO,
that says it all.
It was the CDC. It was all of them that are in the media now, and it was all the
There's a bunch of
world
elites
leaders.
there too, like really, really wealthy, rich people that were there too, like corporation owners,
Corporation
actors,
owners, YouTube,
celebrities,
Google, and basically
politicians.
they said they sat around the table and said, what would happen if there was a pandemic? And
They did a simulation.
simulation, yeah, they went live with it. They done a simulation. They had like fake news people. They had fake news articles. They even had a stage where they were dealing with the pushbackers and they were dealing with the people like us, that what we're doing now, of how they would deal with us, and they would censor us, they would remove doctors, they would do all this shit. And I kid you not, right? Kid you fucking not, that it's exactly what is going on. And I think they even called it, I think it was even a coronavirus they used. The only difference is that I think they said it come from a pig in the video. But
Yeah, there was only one difference.
And they done everything, literally everything you're seeing now. They done a simulation of it and what they would do, how they would react, fucking the vaccines, what they would do, how they would roll out the vaccines, how they would blackmail and manipulate people into getting the vaccines. It looked like they just went live. And like, right, that was a trial run. Now this is the real thing. They put it on the fucking website.
There's a lot of information about that event. They're really proud of that event. Apparently that event took a lot of work to put together. Mm-hmm. And if you listen to interviews about that event from people that were there, everybody is so proud of the work that they did to create this event. And they were so proud to be one of the top elite people to be invited to it. It's really, really weird and like interesting, like the way that like the reactions to like, oh, I got to be there.
Freedoms. And so I just think we need to like come to, put our differences to the side. It doesn't matter whether you're vaccinated or not. I'm honestly, I'm pro-choice. If you feel like that's best for you, that's fine. My opinion, I think it's your choice. Like I'm more like
I'm pro-choice.
Yeah, like I'm not, if that's what's best for you, I don't personally think it's best for me, but that's just my opinion. But like I'm not even against it. We need to put this shit to the side. Like they're literally, our freedoms are being taken away. I mean, I feel bad more for like the children growing up in this world, like their mental health. Think about it. I mean,
yeah, I just think with all of this that's going on, it's good to be informed. But it's hard to get real information. It's hard to get information that, is not censored and not towards the narrative. If you really, really want to find the right kind of information about this, dig a little bit deeper. Don't just look at the first two things Google shows you. Try other search engines, like Diana mentioned. DuckDuckGo is a really good one. What my favorite thing to do is I look up things on Google and then I'll look it up on DuckDuckGo too. And I have both of those on my phone so that I can kind of see from both perspectives what the narrative that resonates with me is. And rather than just blindly listening to the first news article or the first Google fact check thing that pops up when you search something, trust your gut. If there's a bit of information that you keep hearing that doesn't feel right to you, then it's probably not right. So really pay attention at this day and age to what your gut is telling you.